10 Minutes with Kindred. We are back again on our second episode of the podcast, baby. How does it feel that we have started something new? We have done something and put it into the universe, and it's being received well, thankfully. I'm pretty happy about that. How do you feel about it?
It's cool. I think, we got a lot of things to say, so it is,
We definitely have a lot of things to say. I was going to talk a little bit about getting back to work, because I know in a few weeks, more than likely, things will start to taper off until people getting back into their regular routines.
Well, that is the hope, but I don't know. I think we got at least 30 more days.
This depends on what time someone is listening to this podcast. They may not be listening to it immediately after we upload it.
Well, today is officially March the 26th.
Yes, okay.
And I foresee at least another 30 days of this.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, I just, obviously want to get back to work as quickly as possible because we have mouths to feed and things to do. But yeah. Thing is that there's a big divide amongst people who, about whether or not what they're actually doing with this time in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Some people feel like I got to be super productive. I got to come up with something. I got to write a book. I got to write a script. I got to paint some paintings. I got to
start a podcast.
Yeah. Then there's other people who feel like, no, I need to sit still. Maybe this whole thing is about not trying to press or push productivity. So there's a bit of a divide there, you know what I mean? Like those who are like, I'm going to take this time to just be still.
I think it's the perfect balance of the two, though, in retrospect, that should be being done. I don't think that anyone should lay down and just, sit and wait and twiddle their thumbs until someone tells them, hey, it's time to go now. Now we can move again. Like that seems to be counterproductive to me. I think that the same way that people are saying to enjoy your families and and enjoy the family time and catch up on other things that may center yourself, meditate, pray, all of the.
But
other
is there
things
productivity in silence? Is there,
some.
That's its own. That's its own type of productivity to a degree.
I don't know if that's productivity.
Because there's the world and the mind can be a place with a lot of excess noise. A lot of times it's easy to get overwhelmed with that. This is a unique opportunity for large masses of people to figure out who they are without the background noise.
I can't deny that. I think that it is helping me to see some things a little clearer while some things a lot more cloudy. It just depends on how you look at things and from which lens, I suppose, that you're look at things that same way that people say, is the glass half empty or half full, right, kind of thing right now. But I have started to get calls and stuff from venues and people who are trying to schedule things now in the future still, not necessarily immediate, but to me that shows a sign of people starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel, which it could be a false expectation or a false sense of security. One could never really know, and like you say, you think that this is still going to be happening for a while. I know the schools have been closed down, until a certain date, and governors have shut their states down and stuff like that until a certain date. So it might be hard to just come out of that.
Yeah, but I have a question for you. You're gonna have people trying to make their money. You're gonna have us. Everybody's kind of in the same boat with that. What about this experience has changed your process? Like your process, the way you do things, it's been a certain way. What about this experience has changed your process? And do you think it's a permanent change in your process, or it's just an adaptive change to your process?
I think time will tell how we are really changed by these events that have happened over these past couple of weeks, more than we could just easily say from the inside looking out. But I think in terms of how you view germs and sickness is definitely going to be different for most people. I think me and you talked about it, that we feel like it's going to give racial tension a little bit of a
some more legs,
in a sense, because then people
the white people are like, it's not that I don't like black people, I just don't like
coughing black people.
I just don't
black
want to stand close to you for fear that some of your
black germs might get on me.
I don't know if you guys are predisposed for viruses.
To not to be one-sided, because that goes both ways. You know what I mean? Black people will feel the same way about
speaking of black people, what about the whole sub issue around the way people are dealing with Asian people?
Oh yeah.
Because black people can be extremely prejudiced. This is something we don't talk about.
Yes.
But we can be very prejudiced, and black people in particular, as well as white people. We don't always
know the cultural background of a lot of the Asian people that are in our neighborhoods and communities, and we should point that out.
Well, yeah, because
there's a lot of ignorance around that. Racist, but it's like
not racist, prejudice, because black people can't be racist,
right? Because if you go to the Chinese store, and the Chinese store is not Chinese people.
Well, see, you can't call it the Chinese
store. But that is what we call it. Well, we call the poppy store the poppy store, and that is not necessarily always Latinos that own the poppy store these days, because a lot of Arabs own the poppy stores, and Asians, Cambodians, all different types of people who are not necessarily. I get what you're saying.
That the hood word for it is
the poppy store.
Is the poppy store, the Chinese store. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that there's conversation around the way that Asian people are being viewed and treated behind. So there's been an uptick in some kind of racial interactions, problematic racial interactions with Asian people and black people. There's some black activists that are kind of like, not my problem. Where was the Asian community when we needed them to step up and not have people attacking us and killing us? I don't think now is the time for certain conversations, but right now we all just trying to stay healthy.
We got to stay healthy. We got to stay safe, and we got to stay sane, because the world is getting crazier and crazier. I did want to talk a little bit about the.
Hold on, is our 10 minutes up?
No, our 10 minutes isn't up. We got a few more minutes.
Okay, cool.
We can always go into part 2 if we need to.
If necessary. Because who's going to stop us? Who's going to check us, boo?
No one can stop us. No one can stop us. I was going to talk a little bit about the streaming stuff and everything that's happening, and how do we think that in the long run this might affect a lot of the artists? Because one thing about this whole thing with D Nice and the DJing thing, and having so many
first of all, people may not, everybody listening may not know, the legendary D Nice went live for the first time. I think
everybody knows that.
Well, just so everybody knows.
Club Quarantine.
He went live from his IG, called it Homeschool or Club Quarantine. And he went 6 hours straight the first night. By the fifth night, he was up to 100,000 views.
I think more than 100.
With more than 150,000 views, with the likes of Michelle Obama, Angela Bassett.
I was on there too. I was on there.
Everybody, even for Kindred The Family Soul, even got a shout out.
Thank you, D Nice. His name.
So
is D Nice.
So that but that experience that he had has totally opened up a door of conversation around how many people can you engage, and how can you engage people at this moment while they're at home during quarantine. And now all of the corporate America has jumped into the game.
Oh yeah, you see it. Everybody's got a partner with everybody and doing different things.
Where's that going to leave an artist like us?
But a few days later, then he was able to help them to get a whole bunch of people to sign up to vote. Which is great. That's great, and I think it's a beautiful thing. But it just, the right opportunity came at the right time for something.
Well, this new thing where now the corporate entities and structures want to align themselves with people's IG live. Where do you think that's going to leave artists like us?
I don't know, because we've been creating for a very long time with a lot of different artists and things like that, and of course trying to find our positioning and in that realm. Again, I guess time.
Personalis, so I think this is very
further helps. To that scenario, in a sense, situation with D Nice and the black DJ actually getting that kind of love and that kind of shine. I think that it might change things, like in the future with DJs crowds, because
Right.
People
Well,
love
because
that. You know what I
because
mean?
it's clear now
just,
that that's something that people respond to.
they responding to that like crazy.
1,000 people tune in to listen to Cardi B like cough.
Easily, like yeah, like that same night I saw her alive that she was doing, and just she was talking and giving conspiracy theories and da 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 da, and thinking that people was paid to promote.
But bottom line is that particularly for our age group to see D Nice try in that way, and with the music that he was choosing to play, and the ways in which he was choosing to entertain a group of people,
it was for the culture.
It was for
all
the
the
culture.
way for the culture.
We won in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's very that I can remember.
I hope no. You know what? It's a win for the culture, but I hope that the culture wins in the end over it. You know what I mean? Because I respect and love what D Nice was able to accomplish. But at the same time, doing that for a very long time and really trying to get their footing, trying to get their positioning, then something suddenly just kind of pushes them as opposed to pulling them up. Lord knows we don't want to see another quarantine situation, and that's the main reason why everybody's situation where people respect and love these kinds of DJs and what they bring to the world when the world is at peace, when the world is not feeling sick, the world is not healing, when the world is just moving and going. That's when people really want to be accepted and appreciated and respected.
Well, yeah, it's the flowers. They want their flowers not during the tough times, but during the good times.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Ultimately, I think everything is so very layered, and everything happens to people for,
everything
reasons.
happens for a reason.
Everything happens for and the particular layers and reasons for which that moment was necessary for D
Nice. We have to go into a part. So we're gonna finish it. We're just gonna.
What I was saying is that the reasons why those things happen, are beyond what we can ever analyze from our seat in the room. But yeah, this concludes
And we'll be back soon with episode 3. Stay tuned. Peace.
to stay